And it doesn't give you any error. That's the main thing. This may catch you off guard. Nobody will tell you that. You will spend hours on Stack Overflow. The problem is it will not give you any errors in a black texture. There is no data there. This may cause you some confusion, and ChatGPT will not tell you because there is no information apart from some really niche DW3C specifications. That's why ChatGPT doesn't know about it. And this is, save it, remember this, follow me. What I mean, you won't discover that until you will spend hours on NDN going through WEBGL API, and ChatGPT won't tell you nothing. It's really unpopular thing, and yeah. If you start using single texture in your project, that's what you use. Uniform sampler to the UVid. Shaders, this is a shader language. They are like C. It's called GLSL, OpenGL shading language. This fragment shader uses one texture, which I'm using here, declaring the variable UVid, uniform video, yeah? So you store the data as pixels, let's say, in there, and if you want to move onto two textures, there's some interesting thing you want to know. So let's see, where was it? Okay, here we are, texture setup. When you use one texture, this is all what you need. Video texture equals GLTA create texture, and then you set up the way it is interpreted, like does it loops, because texture it may be easier for you to use that when you want, for example, bricks to repeat on the texture. But the thing is, that's all what you need when you use one texture. Everything is done automatically, and it finds the first variable, which is this first variable in your shader code, which is this, and assigns the texture to first sampler to the variable. If you start using two textures or three textures, you need to go through some hoops. So here I have the example of different filter where I started using two or more textures, which are declared in your shader code as follows. Yeah? You can already see what is the problem here. How the code, how your GL program is supposed to differentiate between them when you upload or update the texture if you use video. So there are two things. First of all, you need to start using GL active texture API, which tells, based on this enum, I think this is enum, tells GL which texture we are talking about when we do the following commands. Because we are using right now three texture, two image texture and one sound texture, audio signal. So it's interesting thing. I invite you for other video to explain that. But you do all this stuff after you say, oh, this is my active texture. You bind it, yeah? When you want to bind the second texture, you need to say GL active texture, texture 2 or 1. As you can see, this is the 1. First texture is texture 0. And you do the same things, but you need to remember about using this, yeah? Oh, so the second thing you need to know, you need to get your uniform locations as the same way as you get it for every other uniform. So basically for uvideo 2, I call them uvid, uniform video, instead of uniform texture. Uvideo 2 equals GL get uniform location from my program which consists of vertex shader and fragment shader, and this is the string which we are looking for. This refers to the shader up there, shader fragment. So the code, yeah? And this is the way you say, oh, by the way, these are addresses, like pointers, let's say, because we're using C-like language, so this may make sense for you. And the same way, every time when we update, oh, this is another thing. If you update it with GL uniform 1i integer, I think it's the type, you use from now on this uniform location and the second parameter, which I'm not entirely sure, is it always 0, 1, 2, or can you use the same thing as here? It works now, so I don't want to mess with it, but later I may try to figure out, experiment. So this is the second one. Oh, yeah, obviously it works. So yes, this may cause you every time when you update your fixture, if you want to play your video, because this is like playable. Yeah, let's play. Yeah, we have two textures which I'm using. Switch here. This is mask, some UV, blah blah blah, and you can mix them. You can mix them and do other stuff, but when you want to update them in your render function or animation function, request animation frame is called as fast as possible for UI on your website. So in this case, you still need to say, oh, by the way, when I'm giving you information about binding and updating the texture image, I mean the texture 0. And still you need to use uniform location. That's, yeah. When I removed anything from this, it stopped working. So yeah, if you want to follow this project, I'm trying to do a shader toy-like boilerplate code for making interesting video effects with audio, at least 2 videos, and automatically generated range inputs, which never happened on shader toy, and I never registered on there, so I don't know the full capabilities, but this may be one of the reasons why I really wanted to make it myself. So yeah, take it as you want. Remember, you may be surprised because everything is done automatically behind the scenes if you have one texture. If you have 2 textures, you need to give it a lot of code before doing any updates, specifying which texture you mean updating at this point. No gatekeeping. This is going to save you hours of debugging and looking on Stack Overflow. If you're starting with WEBGL and you want to start using 2D textures in your project, for example, using a video to make a cool video effect filter, as here, and additionally you generated all the boilerplate with help of ChatGPT and you have no totally understanding of how WebGL works,